I am seriously concerned for jojosiwa. Hello everyone and welcome back to The Chanel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about jojosiwa, formerly the queen of Nickelodeon with big bows and high ponies, who soon became a queer icon as evidenced by her hit single Karma, who has now transitioned into a calm, traditional, heterosexual life. jojosiwa started her career very early on. Her mother, Siwa, was hell-bent on making JoJo a star, so we could characterize her as a typical stage mom, because she even went as far as to dye JoJo's hair to a very bleach blonde, starting this when she was only a toddler.
I have been dyeing my hair since I was like 2, maybe 1.5. I'm not a natural blonde, I'm actually a natural brown. I get brown roots, so I have to dye it so it looks like I'm a natural blonde.
Abby can't say we didn't go all out. We went all out.
But JoJo first got her notoriety when she joined the cast of Dance Moms. And Dance Moms is a whole other topic on its own, because Abby Lee Miller, who is a dance teacher in the show, is batshit crazy and extremely abusive. I mean, this lady is so problematic, but I will say, kind of a meme icon.
You preach theater etiquette to my kids, put your phone away. You preach theater etiquette, put it away.
I don't know, I think I'm gonna go to Baskin Robbins.
She's heading towards an ice cream shop. Towards an ice cream shop? She's heading that way. Al's saying she's going to the ice cream shop. There's she right there. We're gonna have to speed up a little. She's zooming, dude.
No, literally every time I see that meme, I am pissing myself with laughter. I don't know what about it, but it's just the way that she's zooming across and the producers are trying to catch up with her. It's just, mwah, chef's kiss, perfect. Anyway, back to JoJo. JoJo was a dancer on Abby Lee Dance Company, and Dance Moms was a Lifetime show that documented the experiences of the girls in Abby Lee's dance company and the toxic behaviors between all of the moms, Abby Lee, and unfortunately, the girls. While not a member of the original cast, JoJo did join the show in 2015 in the 5th and 6th seasons of the show when she was only 9 years old. Jessalyn Siwa was determined to make JoJo a star and did everything in her power to push JoJo's career forward. Now, I've never actually seen Dance Moms, but I have watched a lot of compilations of the craziest, most toxic moments on the show. Specifically, my favorite channel is Mercedes Sad Hour Edits. They just pull the best clips from the show that make everyone look absolutely psychotic. It's definitely my white noise. So if you haven't seen that channel, please go check it out. I promise you're gonna have a great time. So the clips that I have seen from Dance Moms really do show how toxic the environment was, because Abby Lee was horrible to these girls, was very verbally abusive, and I don't even know if cutthroat is the right word to describe her behavior, because it felt that she just picked on the girls whenever she felt like it, and I really don't think that she cared about them succeeding, but more that they made her and her brand look good. We also got to see a lot of the moms' interpersonal dramas, as well as drama with Abby Lee. And many of the moms were definitely show moms who wanted their daughters to be at the forefront as the stars of the show. Unsurprisingly, when children are exposed to this fame and their parents and the adults around them are essentially exploiting them, there is a lot of trauma and mental breaks. And what makes it worse is that these mental breaks happen in public. I mean, some very classic examples include Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, Amanda Bynes. It's honestly very tragic. And while JoJo didn't necessarily have a similar mental break in the public eye, I do feel like she is having some sort of identity crisis. After her seasons on Dance Moms, she went on to have a pretty successful career and had a brand with Nickelodeon. The most memorable parts of this brand were her super high slicked back side ponytails and a giant ass bow to top it all off. During this time that she was with Nickelodeon, a lot of people clowned her for her seemingly immature behavior and her childish brand because she was in her teens at that time. The high energy, big bows, colorful style, and her popularity with younger girls definitely made her a target for some mean-spirited jokes. During this time, she also had a very close relationship with a very popular YouTuber who you might be surprised she was even associated with, because this YouTuber is known for understanding boundaries with children and treating children as children and never acting inappropriately with them. Yes, that's right. JoJo had a very close relationship with Colleenballinger, the woman who has now become my new Roman Empire. Clearly, JoJo and Colleen would be seen hanging out together in their free time. They did a lot of YouTube collabs. JoJo was weirdly close with all of Colleen's family, including Colleen's sister Rachel. And I want to be clear, I don't think it's necessarily weird to have a close relationship with a child when they're part of sort of your chosen family. For instance, something that comes to my mind is some of my parents' friends' older children who ended up being at a lot of gatherings, and I saw them as more older sisters, older brothers, than I necessarily did as friends. And I think that relationship is perfectly fine. I don't think it's fair to make every minor adult or child teenager relationship weird, because inherently it doesn't have to be weird. But it becomes weird when the topics that you discuss are age inappropriate. And of course, Colleenballinger, who knows nothing about age appropriate topics for children, would always bring up very strange topics when she was around JoJo. And I think the most damning examples are the JoJo Miranda Sings collaborations, because as we know, Miranda's brand is very innocently crude, where she usually makes a lot of inappropriate jokes without realizing that they're inappropriate, which makes it not exactly child-friendly content. And so here a 30-year-old woman is doing this type of content with JoJo, who is around 13 years old at the time. It's inappropriate. Very strange. And if you want to learn more about Colleenballinger and all of her controversies, I've linked my video on Colleen in the iCard above. So after this video, maybe consider clicking on that one and watching that as well. So JoJo and Colleen's relationship was very strange because the topics that they talked about were not very much sibling appropriate, especially considering the huge age gap. I mean, Colleen is 17 whole years older than JoJo. That's almost a full adult child. So talking about sexual things, explicit things, as a 30-year-old with a 13-year-old, I guess you can make your judgment on that. But to me, it's very morally questionable. And JoJo has this habit of protecting the adults in her life, especially the adults who took advantage of her. Because when Colleenballinger was facing all of the criticism from the internet for her weird, inappropriate relationships with minors, jojosiwa went onto Howie Mandel's podcast and publicly defended Colleen, said that people were lying about her and that it's just gone too far, even though there was actual proof that Colleen was engaging in this behavior, and virtually none of what was being exposed was a lie.
The internet can take a lie and run so far with it, so far that it's to the point where you just can't do anything about it.
JoJo also publicly defended Abby Lee Miller, the person who was extremely verbally abusive to all of the dancers on Dancemoms, and as a result, damaged a lot of the relationships with the children in her company, and traumatized them so much so that they didn't even want to engage with her in any capacity. But in JoJo's eyes, she believes that her fellow co-stars should still have this relationship with Abby and thank Abby because she's the reason that any of them even have a career. And that's just insulting, because regardless of what your relationship is with Abby, that does not mean you need to project that onto the other co-stars who clearly were very traumatized from their experience, and I'm sure would gladly give up their careers now to not have gone through any of that trauma.
Them not being here is kind of like, let me erase my past, pretend it never happened, shove it down the drain, when it's like, that's why you are who you are.
In January of 2021, JoJo officially came out as lesbian, and this was a huge deal, especially because it strayed a lot from her family-friendly image. And let me be clear, being gay does not mean you don't have a family-friendly image, but in the eyes of traditional media, for some reason, being non-heterosexual is perceived as inappropriate for children. Don't even get me started on that rant. That's not what we're here for today. But JoJo coming out as gay was a huge deal because a lot of people, specifically parents, who were against queer culture and queer identities, were very upset that she might be a bad influence on their children. But regardless, JoJo used this as an opportunity to completely rebrand. From her bubblegum pop era, she transitioned into a queer icon. And this is where we get the iconic Karma era. As a Nickelodeon star, JoJo did have a singing career and did release some music under her child-friendly brand. But Karma was the first song that she was releasing after having freshly come out as a lesbian, and she absolutely broke the internet. I mean, the signature dance move in the music video went viral, and her bad girl aesthetic was the center of a lot of conversation. And of course, she became an internet meme once again. And I think what didn't really help her case was that she is not really a great singer without all of the auto-tune. Her voice is very raspy, and I don't think it's because that's just how her voice is. I think it's because she doesn't have the proper technique to make sure that she's protecting her voice.
You're still a traitor.
She's really good.
But her inability to actually sing without heavy autotune and producer magic made her an easy target for all of the internet memes. Not to mention, the signature dance move was wild and also was clowned on a lot. And her promo around this rebrand was also very easy to make fun of. For instance, in one interview, she said that she wanted to revolutionize pop altogether and make pop gay.
When I first signed with Columbia, I said I wanted to start a new genre of music. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it's called gay pop. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, it's like K-pop, right? But it's gay pop.
And the irony behind that is pop is gay. Gay is pop. Pop equal gay. And of course, this was heavily memed. Because, girl, what are you talking about? And during her whole queer identity, JoJo did have a couple of relationships. Her first relationship was with Kylie Prue, and they dated for around 9 months or so. And then JoJo's next girlfriend was Avery Cyrus, and there was a lot of public drama surrounding this relationship because, according to Avery, JoJo had cheated on her with JoJo's ex-girlfriend, Kylie. And this will not be the first time that JoJo has demonstrated that she is not a faithful partner, because in 2025, yes, that's this year, JoJo went on to Celebrity Big Brother in the UK, and things got interesting. At the time, JoJo was dating Australian content creator Kath Ebbs, and they had been dating for around 4 or 5 months. But when JoJo joined the house, viewers could see that she was cozying up a little too closely with chrishughes. And y'all, when I found out which chrishughes this was, I was shocked. I kept hearing his name in videos and thinking, oh, that sounds so familiar, that sounds so familiar. And then I realized, oh, this is the chrishughes from Love Island. And my worlds began to collide. Seriously, what the weirdest timeline of my life. But JoJo and Chris were very snuggly, very touchy. They were often seen cuddling together for the entire world to see, and people had a lot to say about it at the time. Everyone felt that JoJo was being extremely disrespectful to her partner Kath, but Kath kept reassuring that everything was fine, that JoJo was just doing this for the show, and Kath felt confident that JoJo still loved them and that there was nothing wrong. But as the show progressed, JoJo and Chris's relationship just got too close for comfort. I mean, they were attached at the hip. And JoJo even admitted that she was starting to question her queer identity. And things were not looking good for Kath. And unfortunately, everyone's predictions were right, because literally at the Big Brother wrap party, JoJo pulled Kath aside and broke up with him while chrishughes was in the next room. And of course, Kath was humiliated because they had spent so much time on social media defending JoJo and trusting that she had enough respect for the relationship. But the whole time, JoJo was crossing boundaries on live television for the whole world to see. And I can't even imagine how humiliating and hurtful that would be to see your partner do that to you so publicly. And then to break up with your partner literally on the finale at the party while the other person you are cozying up to is at this party in the next room. Just horrible. Absolutely horrible. And JoJo again faced a lot of backlash for this because this is not the first time that she has been unfaithful and crossed boundaries while still in a relationship. JoJo's season of Celebrity Big Brother started in April and ended at the end of the month. And only a month later, on June 2nd, 2025, JoJo and Chris announced that they are officially dating. And again, I think it's relevant to highlight the age gap between them because Chris is 32 and JoJo is 22. And I don't necessarily think that there's an issue with an age gap relationship, especially if both people in the couple are over the age of 30, because I feel like at that point you're kind of at a more similar stage in life. But 22 and 32, there is so much that happens in your 20s. You literally have 5 different personalities, go through 10 different identities. I mean, your 20s is where you are figuring out yourself and what you want for your life. And it's weird, in my opinion, for a 32-year-old to be dating a 22-year-old. And I think this is just another example of someone older with more life experience taking advantage of a younger person who is a little bit more naive. Because JoJo definitely is not emotionally mature. I mean, we can even see that by the way that she speaks in interviews. And it's just very weird, to me at least, that they are dating. I mean, even physically, he looks so much older than JoJo that it makes me uncomfortable. In general, JoJo's whole life, to me, has been very tragic because she has never really had the opportunity to actually reflect and think about what her identity is. For so long, there were so many people telling her what her identity should be, whether it be a dancer, whether it be a child star. And then her queer identity, maybe that could have been a result of her reflecting. But to me, her drastic shift toward a hetero identity makes me believe that she really doesn't know who she is. And it makes me sad that so many adults took advantage of her, including her own mother. And she's never had the opportunity to really understand herself and go through that regular developmental teenage young adult process where you get to experience and explore, to learn about yourself, to learn about life, and find out who you really are. I fear that JoJo is on track to become another child star who went through a crap ton of trauma and completely loses control and never gets the opportunity to form their own identity. But I hope I'm wrong and that someday she will have that chance. What do y'all think? I'm very curious to hear about her sudden switch up from a very, very queer persona to now this very heterosexual woman. I feel like she's just lost and confused and doesn't really know what she wants in life. Well, that's all that I have for you today. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I hope you stick around for more videos in the future. And if there's a topic that you want to hear about, let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.